Ignition sequence starts. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Liftoff. We have a liftoff.
Hey everybody, this is the Digital Asset Investor, and oh how far we have come. The news that is coming out today with regard to digital assets in this whole space is really hard to even keep up with. I'm seeing so many things. So we're going to have to jump right into this and get this ball rolling. The first thing I have is from Joni Gold-Bronson, and she sends me this. Pandemic will speed Bitcoin adoption, says DBS bank economist. I wanted to read this one part to you. Pre-pandemic, demand was largely speculative. People saw Bitcoin had a spectacular run and wanted to be part of that game. So what's wrong with putting in 1% of assets under management into Bitcoin? Baig said in an interview. But I think post-pandemic is beyond speculative. It's more about this thing has fixed circulation. It will not be debased. People are worried about dollar outflow and wondering if they should hold crypto in addition to gold as a safe haven currency. Isn't this what we always thought would happen, folks? And the interesting thing is that they still think that Bitcoin is the one when it's not. XRP is the one. They will all find out eventually. Now, in the furtherance of illustrating to you, oh, how far we've come, I wanted to show you this clip. This is from May 9th, 2019. I want to make sure we give this guy all the credit that he deserves in being wrong. This is Congressman Brad Sherman, and this is what he said back in May of 2019, for those of you that weren't here.
I look for colleagues to join with me in introducing
a
bill to outlaw cryptocurrency purchases by Americans so that we nip this in the bud, in part because not an awful lot of our international power comes from the fact that the dollar is the standard unit of international finance and transactions. Clearing through the New York Fed is critical for major oil and other transactions, and it is the announced purpose of the supporters of cryptocurrency to take that power away from us, to put us in a position where the most significant sanctions we have on Iran, for example, would become irrelevant. So whether it is to disempower our foreign policy, our tax collection enforcement, or our traditional law enforcement, the purposes of cryptocurrency, the advantage it has over sovereign currency is solely to aid in the disempowerment of the United States and the rule of law.
Talking about being on the wrong side of history, he put himself firmly there. Now, this is from yesterday. U.S. Representative Darren Soto, who's one of the good guys in this thing in Congress. My bills, the Digital Taxonomy Act, the Blockchain Innovation Act just passed out of Energy Commerce as amendments included in the Consumer Safety Technology Act. From this contact tracing to protecting consumer privacy, blockchain technology is transformational. And then Michael at VAL5 Links kind of summarized this. Part of the Digital Taxonomy Act made it out of the committee as well, representing the farthest a bill addressing regulatory clarity for blockchain tokens has gotten in the 116th Congress thus far. So that's good stuff. All right, and then Ian Northing, Standard Chartered, who is a node on the network away, according to Brad Garlinghouse, if you remember his tweet, when Kahina Van Dyke went to Standard Chartered when she left Ripple. Standard Chartered has launched a new installment payment offering for customers shopping on Amazon in the UAE. UAE is where they just cut the Israel peace deal, right? Standard Chartered introduces Amazon installment payment program. All right. Binance tweeted this out this morning, And it says, we are aware of some temporary difficulties accessing Binance.com. Rest assured, our team is working on it. Thank you for your patience and apologies for any inconvenience caused. I have no idea what this is about, but I'm sure we will find out as the day goes on. XRP Yo-Yo put out a few pretty good videos here in the last 48 hours. This is one of them. I'm just going to show you this part one. This is I think it's an older Coinbase commercial, but it kind of lays out for you the whole thinking and what this is all about, folks. Watch this.
But we rarely appreciate its power and its flaws. It's a tool that has been at the center of human progress. And as we build bigger and tackle complex problems, we're going to need the best tools available.
We have a global economy. We're going to need a global digital currency.
Cryptocurrency is going to be a great democratizing force for the world because it's going to level the playing field and allow anybody with a cell phone to access financial services.
This is going to transform how we think about a real global economy. I think in order to understand its importance, we first have to define what currency means. What currency does is it actually allows us to agree upon the value of something. It's almost like a communication tool.
There are different ways of coordinating human beings. One way that you can do that is with money. You can incentivize people to try to work on the same thing at the same time.
We started off building simple systems like a bridge crossing a river to very amazing things like rocket ships. We went from interacting with our neighbors to now transacting with each other around the world. And we want to make sure that people can move money freely. And our current financial system just doesn't enable that.
So the current systems are very centralized. And so we have big banks and big governments. There's a lot of middlemen who make things incredibly inefficient.
When you talk about the problems of the existing financial system, you can go to a situation like Venezuela where, money is being printed and folks' savings are basically being destroyed.
The value of their wealth has been completely eroded. I think a lot of us in the United States sort of take this idea for granted that someone gives us money, it'll be in our bank account, and it's not going to disappear or be taken away from us. And that's really a luxury that many people in the world don't have at all. There are about 1.8 billion people in the world today who have a cell phone but don't have access to any financial services. And what's really powerful about cryptocurrency is that it lets anybody, if you just have a smartphone and internet connection, participate in the global economy.
What cryptocurrency does is takes the stability that we have and gives it to the rest of the world.
Satellite dishes, that is.
If I have a dollar bill, I can hand that directly to somebody else. There was no bank in the middle there. With digital currency and blockchain, it's actually more similar to cash, yet again, where I can send something directly to somebody else, and I don't necessarily have to go through middlemen like a bank or a credit card company. Okay, I thought that was a pretty good little opener. Now, XRP Yo-Yo also put up this. This is from Mark Carney, and I believe this is older. This is from Cybos a year or two ago. But Mark Carney, for those of you that don't know, he was the governor of the Bank of England, who at the time partnered with Ripple. I want you to listen to what he says. These guys knew this was all coming. Watch what he says in this clip.
Financial system, and it's now also one of the world's leading fintech hubs. And I know you're going to spend most of your time rightly discussing private innovation, but I want to take this short opportunity to set out the Bank of England's ambitious plan to support your efforts to create the future of finance. As this conference recognizes, the world's becoming increasingly digitized and hyper-connected, and that's bringing enormous new opportunities and along with it, some challenges. This new economy requires a new finance to serve the digital economy, a new finance that balances innovation with resilience, and that new finance requires a new Bank of England, one which will enable innovation and empower competition, all while ensuring the resilience of the financial system. So let me take a few moments to expand. First, to enable the digital economy, the very nature of commerce is changing. Last year, 1/5 of all sales in the UK were online. Next year, it'll be 1/4. The use of cash has declined from 2/3 of all payments a decade ago to only 1/4 today. This new economy is placing new demands on the financial system. Consumers and businesses increasingly expect transactions to be settled in real time and payments across borders to be indistinguishable from those across the street. And to help private innovation meet these demands, the bank is leveling the playing field between old and new. As you may know, until recently, only commercial banks had direct access to the core of the payment system, RTGS. And that made sense in an old world arranged around a series of hubs and spokes, but it's increasingly anachronistic in the new distributed finance that's emerging. So now we at the bank are making it easier for a broader set of firms to plug in and compete with banks. We're the first G20 central bank to do so. Already, 5 payment service providers are members of RTGS, and there's a pipeline of another 20 firms looking to join. Responding to demands from innovators, RTGS will now also provide API access to users to read and write payments data, as well as...
All right, I thought that was a pretty interesting clip there. You can kind of get a good feel for how all these people are thinking. They've been working on this for decades, folks. According to the Federal Reserve Chairman of the United States, the U.S. has been working on digital currency for over a decade. He said it in a clip we've played on here before. Okay, from Thillionaire, I got this. Shaq was on with Brian Brooks from the OCC. Wanted to show you a short clip of this.
You know, for me, when I first met the founders of Steady, they explained to me that Steady was an app that puts the power of technology and information into the hands of the American worker. Now, when I say American worker, I'm talking about the workers who are working hard to make ends meet. So Steady is like a union for full-time, hourly, and gig American workers, you know, the people that have been, you know, mostly affected, especially during COVID-19.
Mr. Comptroller, what are your goals here, and how much has this problem been exacerbated by COVID?
Well, look, I mean, COVID makes everything more difficult, but let me just start by saying, Sarah, that Shaquille's support of this initiative is so important at this moment in time. You know, we regulate banks at the OCC, and what we usually think about banks doing is managing people's spend. How do you manage your credit? How do you leverage yourself to buy a house and things like that? What's so terrific about what Shaq's working on is he's got the other side of the equation covered, which is we've got a structural issue with gig workers. And if we can make gig work more like full-time work, make it easier for people to manage their financial lives on the front end and not just on the spend side, that's a revolution. That's what Project Reach is all about.
I think that this is pretty interesting. Let me tell you what, you can just feel at this point that this Brian Brooks guy is a mover and a shaker, but you can just feel at this point that it's like they've put things in motion and it's coming from all directions at this point. This digital asset thing is going down, and it's going down sooner rather than later. If you just look around, I'm not even halfway through this video right now because of all the information that came out just today. It's really unbelievable, but strap in for the ride, folks. This is also, Brian Brooks tweeted this today. Actually, he was up in the middle of the night about 6 hours ago. Fintech firms are giving banking the jolt of innovation it needs, but they'll be more stable, fair, and efficient if they're nationally chartered, writes Brian Brooks. So this was a Wall Street Journal article. I'm not going to go into it. Same talk, you know. We know where this is going. Michelle Vandenberg, XRP Crypto Wolf, had tweeted this out. Swift says criminals prefer cash for money laundering, not cryptocurrency. Swift said crypto is barely even used for money laundering compared to fiat cash or other traditional methods. Well, and that's from an article, but that's not what we've been told for the last 7 years. We've been told that crypto is only Bitcoin and crypto and all. This is for money laundering. It's for nefarious purposes. And all of a sudden, wonder why Swift would be coming to a realization now that it's not for those things. And all of a sudden, that crypto is a good thing versus cash. Well, that would be because Swift is doing the equivalent of what is a merger with DLT and all these, this Swift GPI. They're going to plug right into this new technology, and they know it. And so they know that this is a part of our lives going forward. Now, Marcus Treacher tweeted this out yesterday. More of my thoughts on the rapidly changing landscape of cross-border payments and why DLT and digital assets really matter. And this was a retweeted, I think it was an older article that was retweeted from Ripple. They're doing a lot of that here recently. You have to wonder if something is going to really be coming out of Ripple soon at one of these online swell events they have going on, because They are awfully quiet right now. They're retweeting old articles and doing this type of thing. XRP Crypto Wolf, New York Department of Financial Services chief, says cryptocurrency is a very important alternative to the financial system. Wants to foster innovation in crypto and believes blockchain and cryptocurrency showcase what innovators can do. All of a sudden, all these government people are 1,000% on board. You think that's a coincidence? No. Okay. Then we've got CoinDesk. Ripple has disputed YouTube's claims it knew nothing about XRP giveaway scams, saying it alerted the video platform hundreds of times. I do not understand why YouTube is trying to fight something that they can't win, unless their policy in general is to never, ever acknowledge doing anything wrong. Because I saw literally at least 10 times before Ripple filed a lawsuit against them, I saw these giveaway scams and all that was going on online, and they just ignored it. It makes you wonder if YouTube just is too big at this point and can't control what's going on. Okay, James Rule XRP sent me this. This, let me show you, for those of you that don't get it yet, this is what your life looks like going forward. Watch this. She's buying a Coke with Bitcoin. She's got an app on her phone, and there's a barcode right there that she's scanning, and it's going to send her Bitcoin to whoever owns that vending machine, and then it's going to drop the Coke out. And by the way, they invented Coca-Cola in my part of the world, the state of Georgia, United States. For those of you that, so that's your life in the future. And for those of you that didn't know this, did you know that Coca-Cola is called Coca-Cola because when they first created it, they literally put cocaine in the soft drink. And I'm sure a lot of people got hooked on it, which may be the reason they initially got so popular. But that is the story of Coca-Cola, is there was literally cocaine in the soft drink when it started. A lot of you may not realize that. We'll see. Then XRP Yo-Yo. Now, for those of you, a lot of people, when we start talking about Ripple and XRP and relate it to the IMF and what's going on the world stage, a lot of people laugh at that and say, oh, that's just crazy. That's crazy conspiracy talk. Well, I'll prove to you that it's not. First, let's watch this video. This is from yesterday. They had a great reset, like an online conference, I think at the IMF. And this is a clip from I forget her name, Georgina something or whatever. She runs the IMF. That's all you need to know. Watch this.
We are headed in the world economy and how that translates into actions countries pursue. Where we are, as you said, we put the floor under the world economy, remarkable actions by governments and central banks. And at that stage, we really didn't have to be differentiating between potentially winners and losers. It is a floor for everyone. Now we are reaching a point when there has to be continuation of support. This is what we say at the IMF. Do not withdraw support prematurely. But this support has to be more differentiated in terms of what is it that is the economy of the future demanding from actions today. And in that regard, what we see as promising steps in many places is a triage. One, very forceful support for the health of people so we can put an end to the pandemic and do that universally. Still work to be done in that regard. Two, a lot of attention to what would be the engine of productivity for tomorrow. Let's remember, before this crisis, we did have a worry. The worry was growth was anemic, productivity was low. Is it now possible to inject more momentum through betting on accelerated digital transformation? And we see a lot of countries and companies paying attention to that. And this third one is very important. We face a very serious risk of a tale of two cities. The part of the economy that is digital and moving, we are
Now, I'll tell you something. I was literally talking to someone yesterday who used to work at Ripple, and they point blank said that back as early as 2013, Chris Larson used to send people from Ripple to the IMF, and I just shook my head and was sitting there. I picture Chris Larson with a red phone. How does Chris Larson have such access to the IMF? That's what I'm always thinking. How does Chris Larson have how did he ever get such direct access to the IMF? That's always been a thing of mine. I just can't. I've told many people this is the reason that I've been locked onto this one company and this one digital asset for so long, is that those types of things don't happen for the rest of us. The rest of us can run a small business or a startup from now for the next 30 years, and we're never going to be in the room with anybody from the IMF or the Treasury, but not Chris Larson, not Greg Kidd. These guys are everywhere. They're at the Federal Reserve, SEC. I mean, these guys, IMF, BIS, you name it, they can go there. So here's but for those of you that still think, oh, IMF, that's just crazy talk. That has nothing to do with Ripple or XRP. Okay. So this is a document, a recent document, International Monetary Fund, Dana Rippler. I don't follow this person. I'll follow him now. Put this on Twitter. This is the documents from July 17th, 2020, International Monetary Fund, United States, Financial Sector Assessment Program. Technical note, supervision of financial market infrastructures, resilience of central counterparties, and innovative technologies. So let's look at a couple of things. Do they talk about Ripple? Yes, they do. RippleNet. It's everywhere. And then here's a chart from the same handbook. And look closely. You'll see all of the different retail payments, wholesale payments. Look right here. DLT platforms, RippleNet, IBM WorldWire, Center Stablecoin Network. You want to know who's in the game, folks? All you have to do is look at that box right there. This box right here tells you everything. Ripple's in the game. IBM WorldWire, which is partnered with Stellar, is in the game. Okay? Center Stablecoin Network. Who have we said? Think about this from the beginning of this whole conversation about digital currencies. Who has been there from the very beginning? Jed McCaleb started Ripple, and then he goes and forms Stellar. We're supposed to think that Jed McCaleb and Ripple are two separate things and they hate each other. I don't believe that. I think that they've been involved on some level all along. But regardless, Stellar's still in the game. You got Ripple, IBM WorldWire, which equals Stellar. They chose to work with Stellar. And then you've got Centercoin Stable Network. Well, who runs Centercoin Stable Network? I'll tell you who. Circle and Coinbase. It's centre.io is the website. And they basically have it's the USDC, which my understanding is an Ethereum token, Ethereum-based token. But anyway, the point is, Circle is backed by Goldman Sachs. Coinbase is backed by just about anybody you can name. I've always thought Fidelity might be backing them as one of them. But the point is, what is this? Ripple, IBM, Stellar, Circle, Coinbase. These are some of the biggest players in the game, and they've been involved all along. Okay, and so I wanted to point this out to you. And this is very important when you're talking about Stellar too. This is Interstellar. Interstellar CEO Mike Kennedy will be speaking along with other great thought leaders about the future of digital assets at the Indonesian Blockchain Conference 2020 on September the 15th. Mike Kennedy. This guy is an important figure. What is Interstellar? And by the way, Interstellar, he's the CEO. Guess who the CTO of Interstellar is? That would be Jed McCaleb that created Ripple and Stellar. Okay. Interstellar is like the Ripple to XRP. Interstellar is that to XLM. You have Interstellar is the company that's working on probably the biggest use case for XLM. But here's the other thing you need to know. This guy started a company called Zelle. And if you go and look in just about any banking app on your phone or anything, when you're trying to move money, Zelle is the platform that they use to do it. Bank of America uses them. Okay. This guy is an important figure in this whole game. And I'm looking forward to seeing the video of this because he doesn't do many interviews and isn't on many videos. All right. So pay attention to that. Ian Northing tweeted this out. Drama. Hackers stole Bitcoin, Ethereum, XRP, Algo, Tron, Tezos worth $5.4 million from the Slovak crypto exchange Etherbase. Token Post. We talked about that the other day. I'm going to remind you, there's, if any of you are in digital assets, there are several things you need to have. You need to have an antivirus software. You need to have a virtual private network. This is the one I use, Pure VPN. Okay. Pure VPN. Get the best VPN for trading. This allows you to surf anonymously so hackers cannot target you. You can get there's a 7-day trial for 99 cents. This is in the description of every video I do. Go click on the link and go get a VPN. It applies to everybody. If you're on the internet and you're listening to me, you can put it on your computer and on your phone so that you're protected. I'm the digital asset investor. I'm not an investment advisor. This is for entertainment purposes only. Please subscribe, hit the like button, tell your friends and family that if they're not surfing with a VPN, they're not safe from hackers. Thank you for listening.
Every day, billions of people around the world are mocked, ridiculed, laughed at, and embarrassed by their friends, family, and even strangers. These people go through their days knowing there are secrets being kept from them. They hear the faint whispers behind closed doors. The information and knowledge is held very close and only shared with others who were fortunate enough to find out. Feeling lost, rejected, and ostracized, these people give up, never finding out what digital assets the digital asset investor holds. But there is hope. Join the free Digital Asset Investor email newsletter and find out what digital assets he owns each month, including investments he's considering. Click the link in the description of this video or go to digitalassetinvestornewsletter.com. Put an end to your days of gloom and depression. Join the greatest free digital asset email newsletter ever created.